Hi, this is Debbie from celestialastrologyhealing.co.uk, and today I'd like to acknowledge the upcoming full moon in Capricorn. So when we think about full moon, this is the culmination of the light that's gathered since the new moon, which began in Cancer 2 weeks ago. I'm just looking to share the chart. Well, actually, first of all, I'd like to start with this image of Capricorn and the full moon, because what we can see is we see a very sturdy, well, he's quite an unusual character actually, isn't he? He's called a sea goat in this image, but Capricorn can be also known as the mountain goat, so living on sort of wild and craggy, earthy tufts of land which are difficult to maneuver, but nonetheless he manages to survive on these crazy crags. And also, I suppose you can have a domesticated goat, which is a little bit more tamed and a little bit more connected to the home. And this is the symbol here of Capricorn over the full moon. I was just trying to point it with my special annotate tool, but that's not quite worked how I'd hoped. I haven't done this for a couple of weeks. Yeah, so basically the mountain goat or the sea goat Capricorn, and this full moon is opposite the new moon sun, which would have been in Cancer. Whenever there's a new moon, the sun and the moon are always in the same sign of the zodiac, and whenever there's a full moon, it moves around to the opposite sign of the zodiac, which I can show you here with my annotate tool, so bear with me. Yes, so at this full moon, which I believe is tomorrow on the 13th of July at 21 degrees Capricorn, we can see the sun here is at 21 degrees Cancer, 21 minutes, and then we go opposite, exactly opposite. This is when the moon will be exactly in opposition to the sun. So the moon is in at 21 degrees Capricorn, 21 minutes. And according to my solar fire program, if this is correct, it's at 1836. And I've set it to the UK where I live in Scotland. So you would have to adapt that to your time zone. So when we think about this new moon, when the sun here is in Cancer, the sun has also got Mercury there, which is under the beams or combust the sun. So whenever a planet is within 8 degrees of the sun, the brightness of the sun actually blasts out the rays to make Mercury or whichever planet is near to the sun seem invisible and as if the planet wasn't there, which then can therefore cause a sense of the planet not being able to express the energies that they represent. And Mercury represents Hermes, the communicator, the messenger, the traveler. So it's about maybe communications and ideas and thoughts not maybe being so obvious or being able to easily be as expressed. Mercury is in Cancer at 17 degrees. Mercury in Cancer is very much related to reflecting on the past or the home, the family, the roots, because Cancer is the crab, symbolized by the tough shell, the crab carrying her home on her back with her pincers ready to protect against any threat. But actually inside this tough, hard, boundaried shell, we have a very tender, internal, emotional, sensitive and intuitive, caring and kind nature, which we don't always notice within Cancerian energy because Cancerians are very good at hiding feelings. But when we think about the moon being in the opposite sign of Capricorn, this is known as in ancient speak, a planet being in exile. And let me just undo that. Trying to do my circle here on the moon. My mouse is playing up, sorry about that. So we've got the moon here in the opposite sign to Cancer. So I was just saying that the moon, when the moon is not in her own temple that she rules, which is the house of Cancer, homely, sensitive, comfortable, safe and secure, the moon is in exile in a place which is harder to express and be comfortable. So the moon represents our sensitivity, our emotions, our feelings and our reactions. So the moon is actually ruled by, in this sign of the zodiac, the moon is ruled by Capricorn. The moon is ruled by, I'm trying to multitask and show you, there's the ruler of Capricorn, where the moon is based. So Saturn is the ruler of the moon. And there's a slight difference in the expression of Saturn. When I say slight, that's an statement, because the moon wants to gather together, reflect the light, bring together in a warm way. Yet when we think about Saturn, especially in ancient times, Saturn is the most distant planet that the ancient ones could see with their naked eye. So Saturn rules the expression of the moon in Capricorn, and therefore there can be a sense of isolation, distance, coolness, or some limitation in expressing the feelings as fully and as naturally as they would normally like to be expressed in a sort of more caring, sensitive way. Saturn tends to bring some type of challenge and hardship. So the moon is in exile in Capricorn, in the opposite sign there. And just added to that sense of also not being comfortable in the house of Capricorn, the moon is also applying within a 6-degree orb to Pluto, the outer planet. And Pluto represents very powerful and intense transformational changes in life. If we think about Pluto archetypally, he was Hades, god of the underworld, who abducted Persephone from the earthly realms. He abducted her and took her to the depths of the darkness, away from her earth mother Demeter, who was absolutely distraught and turned the earth barren, so there was no sign of life growing. But during this time that he held Persephone against her wishes initially, he actually fell in love with her, having used his power to overcome her, to introduce her to the mysteries of the body, of sex, taboo subjects, hidden things, the mysteries of life. He actually fell in love with her and wanted her to become his wife. And there, over time, Persephone was able to return to the earthly realm to share half of her life in the brightness and the fullness of the light of earth, ruled by her mother, Earth Mother Demeter. And then that's when spring and summer came, and then she returned to the dark realms of the hidden areas of life beneath the earth, in the darkness and the depths, back with her husband, I suppose, then Hades, Pluto. So when we think about this, Pluto can represent power struggles. Pluto can represent finding your darker sides and what's in the shadows, and the moon so close to Pluto may illuminate these darker areas of your psyche, or what's hidden away normally. So it might highlight certain parts of yourself that you're not so happy with. And also Pluto may also intensify to quite an extent the emotional potential outbursts of the moon at full moon, which is applying now. We may have been feeling this building. So when the moon is applying from around 20, well, probably 19, 20, yeah, about 19 degrees. So the moon moves quite fast. It moves, I think it's about 12, 13 degrees, don't quote me on that, per day. It's in one sign of the zodiac for a couple of days, 2.5 days maximum. So the moon moves very fast. So a couple of days leading up to this full moon, which now we're approaching tomorrow evening, you may feel these intense energies of feeling deep, hidden emotions that were kept hidden away in the darkness of our hidden selves that may be coming to light. And Pluto has got some healing potential, because when we erupt and express and purge and release whatever's toxic, there can be purification and healing that can follow. So it's just important, because there can be a coolness with Saturn influencing the moon, but the power of Pluto there encouraging some sense of release and endings and beginnings again. You know, there's a mix of different energies happening here, but just, you know, the moon in Capricorn can be very practical and cool. But I would say, you know, take a breath, be calm, get grounded. If you're feeling any emotional turmoils going on, just come back to your center and just feel connected to the earth or be in nature. And a time of reflection as all these hidden parts of our psyche can come up to the boil. Related to family, I would say, because it's opposite the sun in Cancer. So it really depends as well on how these energies will be affecting you, depending on where Capricorn and Cancer are in your own personal birth chart, and what dynamics and what areas of life have to be brought together in a sense of finding the fulcrum point of balance, finding the point where you can actually integrate the two opposing energies, which are the sun and the moon, sense of the self and the spirit and purpose in life, opposite the emotional reactions and your plot line and environment in life, and the feelings being evoked and brought to the surface in a sense of cleansing and release. So yeah, these are some thoughts that I've got, and I hope that this short video is helpful just to acknowledge anything that might be coming up at this full moon. And a good word for Capricorn is constructiveness, because Saturn is about boundaries, routine, limits, using your skills, using your own resources. So tap into your strengths, tap into your inner strengths, feel grounded, take a breath, give thanks for what we have. With a sense of gratitude, it often can add light to times that can feel dark. But just being aware that this is going to be quite an intense moon, full moon, and the feelings will peak tomorrow, perhaps around 20 to 7, and then the moon's energy will start pulling away as the moon moves faster than the sun, and will move past the orb of 23 degrees, and then shortly after we'll move into the sign of Aquarius. So yeah, it will peak and then dissipate, but you can feel the after effects of the moon and full moon applying and what's called separating from the exact aspect of degree-based opposition. So I hope that this is helpful, and let me just stop this share. And I wish you a constructive and healing full moon in Capricorn. If you are interested in having a personal reading with me, you can look at the link or comments section below. And also, yeah, please do share your comments of your experiences if you would like to. This gives me a sense of knowing who's out there, and it helps me learn, and it helps me reflect upon what I'm sharing with you, as I'm constantly learning as a newly qualified astrologer. And when you can relate it to your personal life, I think astrology really does come to the peak of a tool that we can use for self-understanding. So that's why having a very personalized natal chart reading can be very helpful. I can do short readings or complete full readings with typed notes. We can do it on a live Zoom or face-to-face if you're local, with an audio recording and typed notes. So see below for contacting me at www.celestialastrologyhealing.co.uk and sending blessings. Thank you for listening.